Ooh. My people, we have made it, okay? I mean, we haven't really made it, but like we're almost there. Okay, we're almost there. We have made it to finals, and then fall semester is done. This fall semester has simultaneously felt very long and very short. I feel like that probably encompasses like every single semester. Like there are moments where it just feels like it's dragging, and this finals month, to be honest, has felt like it's been dragging. I have made my chai. Honestly, I was craving a cold chai, you know, get a nice iced drink. I feel like an iced drink really emulates finals, really emulates. It's time to get down to work. It's time to get into the business. If you're new here, I'm kind of gonna explain why my finals are a little bit different than your traditional finals might be. I am a film major with a screenwriting concentration as of now. Next semester, I will be a film major with a marketing minor, but that's for next semester's Maya. At least for my school, we don't really get tests, or I mean, like I have some quizzes, but like our final exams are rarely ever tests. They're either like scripts or papers or films, like making short films. And you know what? It's really give or take. Like, I am always grateful that I don't have to wake up and be a pre-med major taking organic chemistry, studying for those exams. Like, I'm always very grateful that those are not my types of finals. But at the same time, we all kind of hate whatever our finals are, even if we're like a communications major and it's like the easiest major or whatever, or we're a film major, which I do think film major is probably like the easiest major. Like I do think I probably do have the easiest major, but it's still just like, it's work, it's effort. Today is Monday. We're gonna run down the stuff I have to do. It's not like a bunch of stuff. It also does not include studying. It just includes, really all of it includes writing. I have a lot of stuff I need to write. My Notion is where I track everything, and it's nothing too crazy. You know, a lot of people like to get real fancy and like crazy with their Notion, and honestly, like I like those vibes. Like I feel like I'm in the middle. Like I like my Notion to be aesthetic and a fun place, but also some parts of it need to be simple, and my to-do list needs to be so simple or else it just won't get checked off. First thing that I need to get done is write a film script for my intro to the production class. We have to do a group short film about fear. My group has chosen like fear of being replaced in friendships and relationships and stuff like that. We had kind of filmed our first take, or like our first rough draft. Was it like 2 weeks ago now or something? We shared it with the class, and everybody, you know, there's like 5 different groups, so everybody has a different type of fear. Ours was definitely very rough, and I feel like it was because we went into it with not much planning and we didn't have a distinct script written out. So I decided that I feel like we should just write a script. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything too long because honestly the film is supposed to be like 8 minutes, so normally a script is like a minute a page. So technically it just has to be 8 pages, but I still have to like figure it out because there's certain types of like shots that need to be included, and like there's like a lot of logistical things that need to go into it. That needs to be tackled first because I have to get back to the group and be like, hey guys, I wrote the script. When are we gonna film? I have 2 7-page papers due. They're both for the same teacher, but different classes. My language of film class paper, which language of film was basically, I don't know how to describe language of film. It was really just like film theory, but like with a specific focus. So this focus was on the body, how bodies react to things, how bodies are portrayed on screen. It's honestly just like a very broad encompassing things. Like it wasn't even just human bodies, like animal bodies, object bodies, like everything. I had to make a 7-page comparative paper for that, comparing 2 films and then utilizing at least 2 sources. That one I'm feeling okay with because I had to submit a proposal. So I already know my thesis, I already know the films. I have to just watch the films, take notes, figure out what sources I'm using. History of film is pretty self-explanatory, but this is history of film 2, so it was from 1940 something to present. But since this is our second paper, our films chosen had to be post, I think, 1960s. I want to get them both done by like Wednesday, the latest. And then the last thing I'll need to do to finish off this semester is just film our short film over the weekend and be done. I'm gonna start with doing the script. Basically, I kind of already wrote some stuff, but I wrote it too long because this is already like 3 pages worth of just dialogue, and the thing is really only supposed to be like 8 minutes long, and each section is supposed to be, because it's 4 of us, so what's that math? 2 minutes. What is the math? 2. This is why I'm a film major, not a math major. 8 divided by 4. 2. So each section is supposed to be 2 minutes long, and it's kind of like broken up into chapters. So like the first chapter is like the kind of like dropping the seed of like insecurity, and the second chapter is like building upon that insecurity, and then the third chapter is like big fight and blow up, and then the last chapter is kind of the character not reconciling, the character kind of stuck in the position that they've put themselves in. I've written too much dialogue for this first chapter, and I'm writing it in Google Docs. Writing a script in Google Docs is so annoying because scripts have to be written in like a specific format, specific script things, and like placements that things have to be in and all this stuff. So normally, like in my screenwriting 1 class, we were given a free subscription to like a specific script writing software because it just makes it so much easier. But doing it on Google Docs where I have to like hand place all of the, like, you know, like writing this stuff like that, it's just like, you know, having to center it and then like doing those and then like parentheses. Like, it's nothing insane, but it's just like so much easier to write scripts in actual script softwares. Nobody's gonna see this script except for our group. It just has to be legible to our group. So I'm just gonna keep doing it in that. I'm gonna give myself an hour time limit. I finished the script. It's so freaking dark, but it's literally only, well, I guess it is 4 o'clock and the sun sets at 4:30, so I guess that makes sense. It's okay. Like, it's not my greatest script work. Honestly, like, I try to put my best effort in it, but it's just hard. This final project is like a group film project, and it's hard, like, including everybody's like creative vibes within, I don't know, like, I'm just so used to like having my own creative thought and then not having to like ask people like, do you agree with this creative thought, or like, do you vibe with this creative thought? Do you want to do this? So I tried to like write a script that like I feel like everybody would kind of vibe with. It's just like not very intense. Also, it's like I went over the page, like it's 10 pages, so it's gonna be probably like what, like 10-ish. Honestly, it's probably gonna be like 9 to 10 minutes. It's gonna be 9 to 10 minutes, which is like fine. Like, my teacher is not strict with like how long the stuff is. Like, he just doesn't want it to be too short. But honestly, like, this isn't a script writing class, which is why I'm not to, like, I don't want to put too much time into this because it's gonna take so much time to just film it in general. Now I'm gonna go eat a snack. I kind of have to make like a whole, I'm gonna make like a whole HelloFresh meal because I was thawing chicken like this whole morning / afternoon. I don't know which paper I want to start on, but I'll decide that. I'll decide that. The little like study with me thing really helps me be so productive. Like, I don't know why. I don't know what it is. I love these things when I'm like reading and when I'm trying to do work. It's just like ambionic. Sometimes they're like music, but if you put in like 3-hour study with me session, it's like an aesthetic person studying. And then normally like you don't see their face, but it's just like you hear like kind of like ASMR, fire crackling, and then I don't know, for some reason it just makes me focus because it's like I'm doing work next to someone else doing work, you know?
Hey, nowadays the pain follow me. Deal with trauma privately. I don't wanna be a burden, I handle things defiantly. Spent a decade searching for a higher power guiding me. Figured out that faith is not up there, that it's inside of me. Act with execution, what's a plan with zero action? Faced with bad habits, knowing it's a magnet to my imbalance. I'm somewhere between confidence and arrogance. The middle ground is treacherous, I work on getting out of it. Pops is looking down, I feel him every time the sun shine. Back to being unsigned, I only got my bloodline. With me going forward, smoking cookie till we heard you taking shots, we pulled up on them, they was gun shy. 2 p.m. in Rome, we at the chapel eating sun-dried tomatoes and a plum wine. Life been like a movie, I don't know how long the run time. Hope it's an extended cut, but when I died, I load my consciousness onto a thumb drive. And upload it to the masses when I pass. All my sets is holographic, life's as real as you imagine. My Jewish girl was tight, cause I ain't link on the Sabbath. But it's Friday and I got a few robins I need to bask in. Playing traffic, if you wanna play the faction, we don't act, we getting active, stacking cash and dodging taxes. My father was a Catholic, never taught me how to practice, but with music I'm a Baptist. Christian all these tracks I bless these raps with.
Queen procrastinator tuning in with y'all. It's currently 11 o'clock. I'm gonna go to the library, my school library, because technically today is reading day, which I never understood what that was meant to be. I guess it's like studying day, like I guess that's what it's meant to be. But since I don't have to study, I'm gonna utilize it as major like essay writing day. First, I'm gonna pick up some food, okay? There's like no food in my house because I ate my HelloFresh and then the other HelloFresh, it has to thaw, and it's just like, I'm gonna get Subway. I'm gonna go get some Subway. And then what else? And then I'm gonna go to the library. I explained yesterday that I have 2 essays that I need to write. Today, what I'm going to, because I feel like I like giving myself goals. Like when I gave myself the goal for yesterday and I was like, finish the script within an hour, I feel like I really got it done. And like, you know what I'm saying? Like giving myself like a strict but like attainable goal is good. So I'm not gonna say that I'm going to write 2 7-page papers in one day today. No. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do both of my outlines. I need to outline a paper before I write it. It makes my life so much easier. It allows me to write the essay so much faster. And I like going through the brainstorming process while I'm writing the outline rather than having to brainstorm while I'm like writing the paper and the words and the wording and the sentences and trying to make it sound good. Like I just can't. I showed you guys like once before how I like outline my papers. It's very straightforward, very middle school-esque. I remember them teaching us how to outline papers in middle school, or like, I don't know if you remember, it was like middle school and high school, honest. Before you had to turn in any paper, you would also have to turn in the outline, and then your teacher would like grade the outline. And I would be so pissed off because I would be like, what is the point? Why are you doing this to me? But now I'm like, see, some parts of public school did make sense. Some parts of it did make sense. My history of film paper, the 2 films that I'm comparing and contrasting are Claudine, a 1970s film, and Crooklyn, a 1990s Spike Lee independent black film. And I wanted to utilize those because one of the topics that we discussed was like the blaxploitation era and then the rise of independent film. I also did that in my black film history class, so like I have a lot of information on that, so I felt like it would be easy to write something on that. So 𝐭𝐲𝐿 is going to be like the blaxploitation era, which if you guys didn't know, it's kind of like around the 70s in film in the United States. Studios in Hollywood were realizing that they were missing out on a lot of money because I believe it was like at least 30% of movie watchers were African Americans or something like that, like some statistic. Like basically because they were making films that weren't catered to African Americans, they felt like they were missing out on a big cash grab. I think the first film, I believe it was Shaft. I feel like Shaft, but I may be incorrect, and that's why I will be going to do research in the library. That kind of started this 10-year era where studio, meaning like mostly white directors, white writers, white producers were taking kind of like black stories and pumping out a bunch of black films. If you look up the blaxploitation era, you'll honestly get a lot of funny recollections of it. As a black woman, the blaxploitation era is the blaxploitation era. It's exploitation of black stories by white people that didn't understand blackness at all, but just wanted to make money off of poor black people, because these stories perpetuated stereotypes that black people were drug dealers, prostitutes, that they were pimps, that they were only good for violence and shooting guns, but like any depth and nuance when it came to like intellect, we couldn't do that. That's how I see the blaxploitation era. So I see it as a negative.
Hopping in here after I've written the essay fully and handed it in, realizing, and I realized this throughout writing, this is a very ignorant take, and this is not a nuanced or like really thought out take at all, because yes, everything I said was true. The blaxploitation era insinuates black exploitation. It did exploit black people. We have to take the same accord that this was the first time that we saw fully black casts, that we were seeing black people leading films and getting paid for leading films. Were they getting paid as much as white counterparts? No. But I think in that whole like rant that I said, because it came from a lot of anger, I wasn't recognizing how much of a stepping stone this was for black people and how important seeing these films were for black people in the 70s that just didn't get to see their own selves in films as leads. Like before this, black people could only be the sidekick or the character that dies within the first 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? The era was not perfect. I think when we look back at it on hindsight, we could see the harms that the stereotypes made, and we could see that the characters created did paint black people as cartoonish characters that didn't have much emotional depth or reality to them, which creates like icky stereotypes. That part we can critique, and I do critique that part, but then at the same time, it's important for me to recognize that this was a pivotal moment where we were able to see black people leading films, which is really big. I wanted to hop in there because I realized that it required more nuance than just right and wrong. It's like very much a gray area, and it's also dependent on your own personal opinion.
Using that and the film 𝐭𝐿𝐲𝐿 from the blaxploitation era to compare it to Spike Lee, which if you don't know I feel like a lot of people know Spike Lee. If you don't know Spike Lee is a independent, well, I don't even know if he's only independent now. I believe he is independent. He's an independent black director. He kickstarted a lot of black filmmaking. He started out in the 90s. He went to NYU, and he did Do the Right Thing. He directed Do the Right Thing, Malcolm X. I'm just listing the big ones, but I feel like She's Gotta Have It. He's a very famous director. I feel like you guys probably know, and you're like, you do not need to explain Spike Lee to me. But moral of the story is he's a black director. I'm gonna use the film Crooklyn from that 90s to kind of show a contrast to what you have when you have a black person actually telling their own story and telling a black coming of age family story in a more authentic way, when it's not a part of the blaxploitation era where studios are trying to make what they think black people want to see, and rather a black director making their truth and just putting that out.
I actually really enjoyed writing this essay, and I thought I would like writing the other one more, but I like this one because it kind of put me in like an existential crises thinking thing where like I ended up at the end of the essay like really just questioning everything, and I was like, how do I move forward? Because it's like really this question of representation, which has been like a question for so long, especially with blackness, but with so many other things. And it's a question of who can tell what story, and are people outside of the demographic, especially marginalized demographics, allowed to tell marginalized stories, which is a question that a lot of people have been having in like film and all this stuff, and I don't know the answer to it. I don't know, like nobody has like the correct answer. My biggest question was, can exploitation and representation be separated? Like, can they be separated? Because essentially all of these black films that were created in the 70s, extremely popular black films, Shaft, Foxy Brown, like these are like big names. They started really big actors' careers. All of that wouldn't have been possible without the white directors and producers in those rooms. But then because there are white directors and producers in the rooms, we have this issue of, and I talked about this a lot in my essay, of the crossover, where you say that you're writing black stories, but you're writing stories that feel the need to explain blackness to white audiences, which then makes it not a black story, because black people do not walk through this earth explaining their blackness to white people. And that's why the 90s, and it's called the Black New Wave, felt so different, because we had so many independent black directors coming up with the opportunity and being able to be in rooms to make their own films like Spike. And then that's when you have these films that feel like they resonate more with the community, or at least resonated more with me. Like, I watched Crooklyn and I bawled. It was hard because it's like, I understand how important it is to get marginalized people on screen, but I also feel like it's so important to get the stories right. Like, it's important to get the stories right. Ooh, it's so hard when we're not even allowed in the rooms to create those stories. And I feel like that's changing. That was like at the end of my essay, like I feel like that's changing with Jordan Peele, Ryan Coogler, Tyler Perry even. Like, I feel like it really just takes like us as a people rising up to have the economic status to say we don't actually need other people to tell our own stories. We don't actually need other people's approval to tell our own stories. We have all of the necessary resources that we need, and we're just gonna do what we want to do. And I vibe with that. So it's like, I don't know, I really enjoyed writing this essay, and I didn't think I would, but you know what?
And then my second one, my language of film paper, is on the strong female lead character archetype and kind of the detriment of that label on female characters. For this, the two films that I'm using are Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers from Captain Marvel, and I'm using Katniss Everdeen from The Hunger Games. Now, this one is like a true opinion piece, but our teacher was like, I really want you to get strong with your opinions. I mean, it's no secret. A lot of people, if you don't know Captain Marvel, it's like a Marvel character. She's like within the MCU. But when that movie came out, nobody really liked it. And then people were kind of trying to say like, nobody likes it, because she was a woman. But I think that missed the mark, and I feel like I have to describe this one to you guys after I write it.
This is from Brooklyn College, Blackwood Avenue down to
language of film paper was basically a criticism on the strong female lead trope or archetype that we see happen in a lot of action and superhero films where a woman is the lead. And in theory, the concept sounds really beneficial. It gained its popularity after a long period of time where women were only allowed to be victims, seducers, or objects of the male gaze on screen. The trope itself is meant to be an antithesis for the weak damsel in distress that always needs a man to be the center of her life. However, what we found in many cases is that this strong female lead trope has become a pattern of pushing toxic masculinity traits onto women than calling it strength. A quote I used from actress Britt Marling said, "The more I acted the strong female lead, the more I became aware of the narrow specificity of the character's strengths. Physical prowess, linear ambition, focused rationality, masculine modalities of power. Many writers are using the same characteristics of strength that are expected of men in current society, while third-wave feminism has been saying these unrealistic expectations that we place on men are the cause for the men's mental health crisis today." I use Carol Danvers as an example of a female lead that did not deliver, in my opinion, on the strength that studios expected her to, essentially because she was given no character arc or hero's journey at all. Carol is perfect, with no internal flaw, which makes the audience struggle to connect with her. Yes, she is the most powerful Avenger, but why do I care if she's just a punching machine with no true conflict? I used Katniss Everdeen as an example of a nicely written, strong character, in my opinion, because Katniss is not perfect. She's not good at everything. She is not the most physically strong person in the arena by any means, but she is strong because she will do anything to save her sister Prim. Her empathy and her sacrifice for the innocent like Rue or the districts is what makes her strong, and it's what makes her able to lead a revolution. I also think that Elsa and Anna from Frozen are really great examples of strong women written well. Yes, Elsa can shoot ice from her hands, but we see her struggle in the beginning with the song "Do You Want to Build a Snowman?" where she feels like she's an outsider and she's afraid of her powers because she doesn't want to hurt the people she loves, and we go on a journey to see how she overcomes her fears, and that is the strength that we as the audience are able to resonate with, because we don't have laser beams or ice powers or any of these fantastical elements, but it's the human aspects of these stories that allow us to empathize with these characters. I was thinking about my favorite superhero, Iron Man, and realistically, like, if you take Tony Stark out of his suit and just start beating him up, he's gonna die. Like, he's not winning any physical fights, but I love him as a character because I know that he's still one of the strongest Avengers, because when he walks into a room, he's always the smartest in the room. He uses his intellect and his wit to outsmart people and to win battles, and most of the time, even when he's in the suit, he's still just using his intellect to overpower these gods and aliens and Thanos. Hello? Studios think that women want to see another woman on screen being kind of like this emotionless robot just punching everybody around, but realistically, we understand that strength is so nuanced, especially for women. I truly believe that just waking up and breathing as a woman is strong. That was my thoughts, and that was what I wrote my paper on, but I don't know, let me know your thoughts down below, because I'm just spitballing. This was an opinion piece. Yeah.
Please close your mouth when you chew. What that is this for? Cause you're disturbing the peace.
I don't know when I talked to you last. It's currently Sunday. I am beyond tired. I am beyond tired. For the past 3 days or 4 days, I've been going to sleep at 3 a.m. or 3 a.m. plus. Last night it was like 3:40, so I am beyond tired. Today we have to do the reshoot for the production film. It's currently 11 o'clock and I have to meet my group at campus for 12. Sadly, it's gonna rain. Okay, so we're gonna have to do all of our filming inside, but honestly, like, I'm really like I'm just at the point where I just want to be done. I don't want to say that I don't care, because like I care about my grades so much, and I'm like falling into my like grade anxiety. I normally don't get, but like I don't even know grade anxiety is like a real thing, but like I get it like often. If I have a feeling like I might not get an A because of something out of my control, it makes me like go insane. So the fact that this final project is a group project is making me like really anxious, because for some reason I have a really unhealthy connection with my grades. Like it's just really bad. But it like, I think it stems from the fact I grew up in a Caribbean household, okay? If you also grew up in a Caribbean household, I feel like you somewhat get it. But the expectations are just high, and it's not even like I'm still living up to expectations, because honestly, like my family has like no real expectations for my grades anymore. It's just like, please just graduate college. But like when I was growing up, like if I would come home with like a 93 on a test, my mom would be like, oh, so you didn't study? And she was right. So like I'm kind of just used to that mindset where it's like anything less than an A is a complete failure. Like I'm terrified of B's, which is so terrible, and I've been trying to train my brain out of that, because I do know that in college grades don't really matter. They don't matter. But that's so hard for me to really get into my head, because in high school, my grades were the most important thing to me of my life. I would go to war for my grades to ensure that they were the best. So I still kind of have that same type of anxiety. I submitted my 2 papers, literally submitted them at like 3 a.m. for both, like nearly pulled an all-nighter, and I feel like they're good work. I feel like the history of film 1, I kind of had to tweak a little bit. I had to change stuff around, but in the end, I feel like that one I'm confident in. It ended up being 1 page over, but again, I'm hoping that this teacher is very lenient. And then the language of film 1, I liked that one, but I'm afraid that it might not have had enough. So I'm just worried about that. And then for this class, I just don't know. I don't know what this film is gonna be. I don't know what is, and I don't know how he's grading this. Like, I don't know if he's grading this based on like effort, or if he actually wants this to be good. So it's just like kind of like it's just making me anxious. It's making me anxious, and I've been trying to work on letting it not make me anxious, because at the end of the day, like my grades don't have to define me, but I'm just so used to my grades defining me that it's so hard. Like I'm training myself out of it, and I'm not out of it yet. I don't know. I don't know. Moral of the story is, I'm just excited to be done. I'm excited to get my grade, see what I got, put this semester behind me, and sleep. Do you want to say hello, gentlemen? Okay, sorry. forgot to end the vlog because literally after that clip, when we wrapped, I went to my mom's house and just slept. And I've been sleeping for the past few days. Feel rejuvenated. I feel great. Haven't gotten my grades back for anything yet because grades aren't due for another few days. So we'll see. I'm crossing my fingers. I have less anxiety because I've been distracting myself. So the anxiety will come when I actually see the grade, and then I'm like, oh, and then I check my GPA and I'm like, oh. We're working through it. We're meditating. We're trying to be zen.
But thanks for coming with me on this journey, this stressful, chaotic journey of my finals. See you next time, and I'll catch you for spring semester finals. Okay, I don't know. See you.